annoying, frustrating, disappointed, not angry, disappointed, kind of like the angry parent to the naughty child. I'm just annoyed, man. There was enough there to win the game. Just not clinical. We're not scoring enough goals. We're not being potent enough in front of goal. There's a stat out there that we've seen as well. Man United that have missed the biggest chances this season with 17, and they topped that. I think Aston Villa are up there as well. But that bit is a bit of a rinse and repeat. There were positives from the large parts of the performance. We've done everything right in that first half. Palace were awful. We were putting them to the sword and doing everything but scoring. And as it was going on, I'm thinking, this is going to come back to bite us in the arse. I've seen this before. We're doing everything right, but we're not 1-0 up. We're not 1-0 up, and Palace aren't going to keep playing as poorly as this for the whole second half. And credit to Glasner, he changed it. He brought on Lerma and he brought on Ismail Assar, and it changed for them. And, you know, the big chances for them, the big chances fell to Eze, and Onana had an amazing double save to actually keep us in the game in the end. And it just wasn't good enough in the whole 90 minutes, because there was enough there for Man United to be winning. I don't think we should go overboard, in my opinion. I've seen the online reaction. I've seen you guys' reaction on the match view, and everyone going off in the comments saying this is why this fraud needs to get out. There's no style of play. There's no this. There's no that. I've seen that reaction. I'm not there with it, but I will call this bit out for 90 minutes and break down the things that I think were shit and not good enough, and the things that I think were good enough. Let's start with the positives. The positives were the patterns of play were there. The style of play was there. The dominance was there. The control was there. The chances were there, all in the first half. And I think actually the team selection that Erik ten Hag went with was justified. I think Xerxes was the glue, and he was really good bringing people into play, was providing chances. Garnacho's movement off the ball was brilliant. He looked like our brightest spark and our most likely to score a goal. He hits the woodwork. He forces a save across goal with his left foot from Dean Henderson. Those actions were good. I was looking in the midfield. Eriksson, I thought, was playing really well. Dalot was inverting from left back into midfield and picking up in the 6 area, and was almost our chief creator at times. He was winning his duels. He won back possession the most times from the first half and was creating chances for us. Some nice touches from him. Eriksson, I thought, was good, like I said. Kobe was just ticking along, giving us a bit of balance. And Bruno was half involved, and he went from bad to worse. I'll get onto that, but this is the positive side of it. Ahmad was keeping the ball well. All the defenders, I think Mazraoui was really good. Didn't get caught in any bad situation. Was good going forward. The 2 centre-halves, everything was fine. We just couldn't fucking score. That's it. Like, I'm getting myself worked up again, because that was the only thing that was missing, was a goal. Now into the negative things, because it's one thing having a good 45 minutes and getting to half-time and you haven't scored. Usually what that does, which is what we saw, is the team on the receiving end of that, who are lucky to go in at 0-0, they galvanise. And if they got a good manager, like they do in Oliver Glasner, they make changes and they adapt. And that's exactly what happened. The two changes they made them better. It made the game more even. And then we get into our manager and the changes that Erik ten Hag made. And that is where I think the game changed. The subs impacted us completely negatively. I think we took off the players who control the game. We took off the players who knit the play together and play the game in the right way in Ahmad, Eriksson and Xerxes. And when we replaced them with the likes of Rashford, Ugarte and Højlund, we didn't get the same exchange. We didn't get the same return. It almost wasn't a fair swap. And we lost our control completely of the game. And I will highlight this. Erik didn't have the balls to hook Bruno. Bruno should have been taken off. He was absolutely awful today. He stunk the place out. Countless misplaced passes. Countless giving away possession. Countless poor decision making. And on top of that, he was wasteful when he had the shot, when he had the outside of the boot. Difficult skill, I know. But he's better than that. He had that whole side of the goal to Dean Henderson's right to get his foot round that on the outside of the boot and find the far corner, or even get it on target, and he's put it wide. You know, the allegations won't go away without Bruno at the minute in terms of how he's playing. He's in a bad spot, signed a big contract. We believe in him. He's the captain. I was behind that signing from him and the longevity in Bruno. I think he's a good player. But right now, he's not playing well. And the manager he had the confidence to take off other players who were playing well. He should have come off the pitch. You know, get more imaginative. You should have put Xerxes potentially in the 10. Or just take off Bruno and put on Mount in the 10 if you really want. Mix it up a little bit, you know. And I think the reluctance from him to do that basically made the performance go from bad to worse. I'm not saying it's all Bruno's fault, but that was a big part of it. And Erik ten Hag, we have to say that he did a lot of things right in terms of the starting 11 and how the team played, and you can put that onto the players for not scoring. But as a manager, when you decide to try and impact the game via substitutions, it goes one way or the other, doesn't it? It either goes A, you bring on the substitutions and they affect the game and it works and you get the credit, or it goes B, and you bring on the substitutions and they make the team worse and they don't impact the game, and therefore your substitutions failed. So as a manager, you live and die by your decisions. And on top of that, you can clearly see that Bruno was, like I said, stinking out the place. He was really, really bad. And he didn't take him off. So that didn't go well. And I think we have to say, in this case, this experiment with Rashford, or the rotation with Rashford, didn't work. Putting him up through the middle didn't work. It worked against Barnsley. But, you know, against Palace away in the Premier League, when we weren't having much control over the ball and weren't putting balls in behind, he was null and void, and Marcus Rashford didn't make an impact. Then when Rasmus Højlund come on, he went to the left-hand side, Rashford, didn't have an impact. Rasmus Højlund, to be fair, has been out a long time, been out since August again in pre-season. So July, I don't think that we can get on to him for not really, you know, contributing a few baggy touches, loose touches here. Didn't really get involved, but he's been out a long time, so I'm not going to get on his back, but he didn't impact the game. I think Eriksen's legs were probably diminishing, but I mean, why not persist with him a little bit more? I don't know. I think he was fine. He didn't look like he was tired to me, or getting overrun. But Ugarte's not going to be one who's going to come on and use the ball as well as Eriksen can. So I think that was a downer as well. Andre Onana, I have to go back to that. He literally kept us in the game. We're lucky Eze didn't find the back of the net a couple of times, especially the second one. But the shot from Eddie Nketiah is a good save from Onana, and to get back up and fling his right hand up where Sarr's got a certain tap in off the ricochet is a huge, huge save. He's basically made sure we didn't lose that game today. But yeah, overall, there are positives, guys. I know you can call me deluded. You can say, oh, you can't see this fraud. That's fine. It's down to opinion. I don't mind that. But overall, we're doing a lot of things right. We're just not scoring. We're not potent enough up front, which was one of our you know, things looking at the season about when we was talking about it on Flexing KG show, or I think the Trinity, when we were like, where are the goals going to come from? Because not being potent. But actually, you're probably looking at it going, if you keep doing those actions, the goals will start to come. I'd much rather us be playing like this, where we're knocking on the door and we just need a few to go in, rather than how we have seen it in the past, whereby we look miles off it, we're getting dominated, we're facing 17 shots, we're open as hell, Onana's getting peppered, we're conceding goals galore, and we're losing loads of games. It's not the improvement we've wanted to see by this point, I understand that, but there are some positives, and this doesn't mean that we're now going to go and lose against FC20, go lose against Spurs. I saw a little bit of their game earlier. You know, they came through a period where it should have been 2-2, and then they go and get the extra goal, and then it was 3-1. That doesn't mean they're going to come to Old Trafford and give us licks. It doesn't mean that. We've got to rise. We've got to raise it, and we must get a win in that game now, because, you know, we're trying to turn this corner and build up some momentum, and it's not happening. So for me, my biggest gripe was that Ten Hag didn't have the balls to take off Bruno, and his substitutions were wrong. Maybe take off one player who plays in that way, but to take off three types of players who keep the ball well, make good decisions, who are knitting the play together, and replace them with players who are the complete contrast to that. When it don't work, the criticism has to be on the manager in that sense. And in terms of in the first half, us not being clinical enough or getting the ball over the line, there wasn't a chance where I'm going, you disgrace, how did you not score that? That is so wasteful. Garnacho did his best. I mean, he's whipped one pretty much top corner, it's hit the bar, it's unlucky. Bruno's then hit one into the ground and it's hit the bar. De Ligt's headed one down. Dean Henderson's giving it all that and that, but it's a lucky save. We hit the post when there was a little melee as well. Then Martinez had a shot close. They're easy saves for him. The Garnacho one from outside the box, it's a comfortable height for Henderson, hand up, tips it round the post or over the bar. Like, they were comfortable saves. So none of the chances we had were completely wasteful. Maybe the Bruno one, like I said earlier, with the outside of the boot. So I'm not going to criticise them that much for that. But after that, the lack of urgency to go and get that winner and then giving away the big chances that we did, that was criminal, and we could have ended up losing. So I'm annoyed, but I'm annoyed because we should have won the game. We should have put the game to bed in the first half, and we didn't. But there you go. We roll on to FC20. We roll on to Spurs. Man of the match, they gave it to Dean Henderson. I get that. But I don't know, we drew. I thought Dallo was excellent. I'll give him that. Managerial was good. And the super save from Onana. So not really a solid man of the match for me anyway. Let me know what you guys think. Peace.